The Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the DOJ, Harmeet Dhillon, and she is joining us right here live on Bianca Across the Nation. Harmeet, welcome and great to see you. Letter says 5 days to respond and that they need to comply and maintain. How will they have these clean voter lists? You're probably not surprised, but for Illinois, they're saying they're reviewing your letter. What would need to be reviewed?
Yeah, I mean, well, Illinois and many other states were in litigation with 30 states. We've offered to help all the states clean up their voter rolls. About a third of the states did voluntarily comply with us, and we're helping them get rid of dead people on the voter rolls, investigate potential non-citizens on the voter rolls, and really give confidence to the voters in those states. So why are 2/3 of the states not doing it? I don't know, but my job is to enforce all of the federal laws relating to voting. And those laws include criminal penalties, not only for the people who falsely represent their citizenship to register to vote or vote illegally, but also election officials who knowingly allow or conspire with people to vote when they have no legal right to do so, including non-citizens. And so this is not a fictional issue, Bianca. We've, at the DOJ, prosecuted numerous people in the last year and a half who have voted illegally. Just this week, there was an Australian national who voted in multiple elections in 2022 and 2024. And I've got other cases in the pipeline. So we just want to put a stop to it so that all Americans can feel confident that their vote isn't being canceled out. Pretty simple.
That's right. And that Australian woman is Denise Natali Migliori, claiming U.S. citizenship so she could vote in federal elections in Louisiana, did so in 2022 and 2024. That's according to the case. But to your point, it is not just the person casting the vote if they're illegal. These are election officials. There is exposure for people who are elected officials. Why would they not, even just for their own sake, to avoid any prosecution, not be very aware of the exposure and comply to the T? You put them on notice, Harmeet.
Well, see, that's the knowingly part. Now, to be convicted of a crime, you have to knowingly allow something illegal to happen or look the other way. I think they don't want to know. That's one reason why they aren't cooperating with us at the Department of Justice, because we will be giving them back a list of people and say, we've run these numbers of suspected people who didn't have a citizenship record, and we believe these 20,000 people on your voter rolls are not citizens. You need to remove them. I think they don't want to do that. There's a history of that in states, and it's red states and blue states. I've been getting pushback and complaints and whining about it from Utah and from Arizona and from the usual suspects. Of course, they say it's bullying. It's law enforcement, and I actually hope that I don't have to prosecute anybody under this or other criminal statutes. But the reality is, people are going to cheat, people are going to do this, and we're here to catch them and put an end to it.
Follow the law. I guess they want plausible deniability. That's an interesting angle. Thanks for clarifying why they may not be complying. I do want to talk about what the DOJ is doing in the Civil Rights Division in 3 Michigan cities. That's ahead of the state's August 4th primary. So East Lansing, Harmeet, Detroit, and Lansing, there's going to be election monitors there. And apparently Lansing has put out a statement saying they'll provide documents and information to all lawful requests, but they're saying that the observers about difficult or abnormal voting practices is simply false. But you say on the flip side that Michigan is actually rife with irregularities. So they're on the ground. Why are they saying this is false?
Look, I mean, anyone comes to our workplace and says that we're not doing a good job, people are defensive about that. I understand it. The reality is that the Department of Justice has sent monitors to hotspot jurisdictions for decades in Republican and Democrat administrations, mainly Democrats. So I think they're particularly upset that Republicans are doing it. But the reality is that, for example, there are high numbers of Hispanic voters in Lansing and East Lansing. And to date, the DOJ hasn't assessed the extent to which they're complying with language access laws. In Detroit, there have been reports of and documented long lines at university sites for voting and other jurisdictions. And of course, we all saw the notorious instances of the windows of the polling places being covered with cardboard in the 2020 election to prevent observation of what happened here. So we don't even know what happened inside those rooms, which is problematic. So we're just sending it to 15 jurisdictions in the upcoming primaries, but it will be expanded in the general election.
And Harmeet, just on X, you swore in more than 100 new attorneys and staff to the DOJ Civil Rights Division. So that's another optics there, that there is growth of this department under your leadership. There's a lot of work to be done, and clearly when you see the pictures, people are ready, willing, and able to sign up to be under your guidance there. It's a big deal.
It was inspiring. I said on X, I almost teared up when I saw this photograph, because it is a big deal to hire 100 lawyers and staff in the Department of Justice in less than a year and a half. We lost a lot of people at the beginning because a lot of the lawyers in the Civil Rights Division, some who'd been there for decades, didn't want to do the job, the new priority to protect all Americans. But guess what? I gave a bunch of speeches. I put out the call. I was relentless. And 100 people plus answered the call from all over America, one at a time. I'm so grateful to have them. And we're still hiring, and we can use another 100. So the next 100, we'll swear them in with all pomp and ceremony, too.
All right. Well, let's hope these voter rolls, they give you what you want, and we'll continue to watch it closely. Harmeet Dhillon, appreciate you as always. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.